Geico Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell, and we're brought to you by Papa John's Pizza. Go online and check out all the pizza deals at papajohns.com. Time for our 5 and 5, and it is all Thunder all the time because it's the season opener this week, and we got to talk about the boys in blue. Barry, let's get started with this one. The Thunder record, by the time we fall back, will be, and this is a little bit public service announcement because it's fallback time on daylight savings on Saturday/Sunday. So what's the record going to be after games at Portland, at the Clippers, and against Denver?
Well, I appreciate you reminding me because I'd forgotten that, and I'll need to know that being in a Des Moines hotel room. Thunder record by the time we fall back, I think it's almost for certain going to be 1-2 for this reason. They're playing with 9 guys. They're playing with 4 perimeter players on the West Coast road trip. They're going to be terribly shorthanded. Virtually certain they're going to go 0-2. If by chance they win one of those, come home, probably be a little lackadaisical against Denver, might lose. If they lose both games out west, I think Westbrook and the gang will be fired up, probably try to take it out on Denver. I think 1-2 is almost a certainty.
Yeah, I'm going 1-2 as well, and I think the one win is against Denver. If it was Clippers then going to Portland, I might think they could maybe have a chance, and if they had a day of rest, but that's not the way the schedule falls because they're gonna have to play this shorthanded ball and back-to-back to start with, and your tougher test is gonna be the Clippers. They're gonna be fired up. It's gonna be a tough environment. That first game out, I just don't see how they win at Portland. Just getting it all together for the first time, if it was a little bit of a easier opening, maybe, but I like 1-2 by the time Sunday morning rolls around. All right, Barry, what about this? If not wins and losses, how should we judge the Thunder? A ton of injuries, so how are we supposed to judge this team?
Well, I think we can still judge the defense. First of all, I wasn't buying into all that ball movement stuff, even when they had everybody, so they're going to have to show me on that. But I think you can judge the Thunder on defense. All the guys that are hurt, none of them are the defensive stoppers. I mean, Durant, Reggie Jackson, Jeremy Lamb, Anthony Morrow. We're not talking about a bunch of Scottie Pippens there.
Yeah.
But they still got Andre Robertson. They still got Perkins. They still got Steven Adams and Ibaka in the middle. Westbrook can D up. So they still got their defenders. So the Thunder can still play defense if they'll do that without being so shorthanded. I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think that defense is a good spot too. I also think it's important to sort of see how does this team react to the tough stretches that are sure to come, the tough stretches within games, the tough stretches that go over multiple games, because let's be honest, with this many people out, it's not just a Kevin Durant issue. It's a team-wide. They've got so many guys that are going to be missing. It's going to be tough. So how do they respond? I think that that's really important because a lot of these guys that we're seeing, we may not see a ton of them as the season goes on, but you'd like to think, I know what the Thunder could potentially get out of that guy. If he needs to come off the bench in a pinch, this is what they're going to get out of him. I think those are the type of things, some mental areas. How do they react? Do they just fold when it gets tough? Do they check out? Those are the sorts of things I'll be looking at too. All right, Barry, what about this? What Thunder will surprise us most?
Well, I think there's a lot of guys on this team that can sort of, step up and be a shocker, but I think it's going to be Perry Jones III. I think he's a legitimate NBA player that hasn't gotten a lot of time, and he certainly is going to get lots of opportunity with Durant and especially with the other guys out here at the start. So I think Perry Jones is going to show us that he's a good, solid NBA player, and we really didn't know that until this year.
I think even though there's been a ton of talk about him, I still think we're going to be surprised by Steven Adams. That guy just continues to improve and up his game and bring more and more to the table. We know obviously defensively he's pretty solid, just a solid guy as it is. But offensively, we've seen more out of him. I think we're going to continue to see that. And, maybe what he's doing has always been there, but I just think the level that he's going to play at is going to surprise us. Now, I say this, he's going against first-line centers and bigs for the first time in his career, so that's going to be a challenge. It's not second-teamers anymore, but I think he's going to play really well. So I think we're going to be surprised by Stone Cold Steve Adams. All right, Barry, our fun question of the week. So, what's the craziest injury you've ever had? Thunder injuries abound, all sorts of craziness. What's your craziest?
Craziest is an interesting word. Most gruesome, I could give you a good story. I had my leg snapped like Joe Theismann one time. So
by a rushing defensive end?
No, by a softball player sliding into second base. But I've had, I guess the craziest though is when I was 2 years old and I went around the corner and just caught myself right on the door jamb there. I don't know, I can't remember. It's one of my eyes here. I got a big scar. Split my head open when I was 18 months old, and my parents had to rush me in an old 1960 Chevy or something down to the hospital in Perry, of all places.
Oh boy.
Get it all sewed up. They said blood was everywhere. So I guess that was the craziest. The good news is I don't really remember it.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, I don't know if craziest, again, I'm not sure I have a great one. I remember, the one I actually remember most is also a childhood memory. I grew up on a farm. We lived on a dirt road, gravel. It's interesting learning to ride a bicycle on a gravel road. We had a big hill with the gravel road going one way from our house, and as I got better on the bike, going down the hill became a thing. And one day I went down the hill, and instead of going on my bike, I went over my handlebars. It was a bit of a mess. You know, hands on it's not good. It's not good at all. But probably one of the craziest as an adult was during a World Cup soccer game. I think I've even admitted this. I'm not a big cheerer, but there was a big goal scored late in a men's World Cup game the U.S. had a couple years ago, and I cheered and I hit my head on the bookcase and gave myself, I think, a little concussion. So, but I'm okay now.
For crying out loud. I got nothing bad to ever say about the Irish again.
All right, Barry, let's get back to the serious business of the Thunder. How does this Thunder team finish this season?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to struggle to get back in the top two in the West with all these injuries. I think the litmus test is finish in the top four, get into that top four, get a first round home court advantage. I think I'm picking the Thunder to finish fourth, and then you see how the bracket goes. I like the Thunder team. I think when everybody's here, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be great. I think they're going to be a championship caliber. So if they can get everybody back, get a good solid seed, doesn't have to be 1, 2, or even 3. I think they'll be just fine. And then when the spring comes, then you have to play well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. No, I think it is going to be tough. When Durant was first hurt, I still thought finishing in the top 2 was a possibility because of all the other talent around this team. You know, you weren't losing Durant forever. They still aren't losing Durant for forever as long as things go as expected. But now when you add, Reggie Jackson being out for a while, Jeremy Lamb, Anthony Morrow, I mean, the list just goes on and on of how many guys were going to be important with Durant out. Now I think it's a little bit more of a tougher ceiling for this team to get up to that top 2. But I still think this team can win the championship. I still think it's got to play well after the first of the year with everybody back and really get some momentum going. Can they do it? Absolutely. I like this team to still be in that championship conversation. Hey, be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.